pleasure of serving as constituent liaison for Mayor Woodman here in the city of Birmingham with government affairs. Today, I'm just simply acting as a moderator, and I will let our small business owners tell you a little bit about themselves, and then we'll jump into the questions. So we'll start with that, and then work our way down the line, get through some of these questions, and make sure there's time for you all to ask questions as well. So thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate it.
My name is Goodman, a company called Creative Studios. We do media, all things media, videography, photography, graphics, you name it, we pretty much do it. But we do have a niche in there as well.
I'm Antonio Boswell. Most people call me Boz. My company is A Boswell Media. I work with entrepreneurs and businesses to develop a business story that's going to be clear and effective.
I just steal this microphone, as you have what is it? My name is Everett, the owner of Likewise LLC, that's the parent company, which is shots on referral booth, recharge batteries. So I basically in photo entertainment. That's what I do. We still have something in the microphone again.
Hello everybody, my name is Cody. I run business Coco's Team Media. I help businesses and brands elevate their media placement, their media strategy, and I'm also a content creator.
Beautiful. So today our panel is seen, heard, and paid. So talk about visibility, talk about messaging, and obviously talk about money and getting paid. So we'll start with that visibility part first for our panel, work our way down the line. But everybody's posting. Today's an age of social media. Everybody's posting about something, but not everybody's getting the same level of traction. What would be your tips, your tricks, your advice on how somebody can elevate what they're posting so people can actually follow what they have going on?
Okay. So first, they said to keep it real, and I like that. So let's keep it real. Social media is the matrix. Everything on social media is not real. And if you're running a business that serves a service or a product, you need to know that you're going into the matrix. When you go into that matrix, you need to conduct business and know that you're in the matrix, because everything in the matrix is not real. So you conduct business while you're in the matrix, but then you have to remember that you're coming out of the matrix, and that's where your money is going to be made. So when you go into that matrix, you need to be, what's the guy's name on the matrix? What, black? The other guy, the black guy, Hollingsworth. You need to be Morpheus when you go into the matrix. You need to go into the matrix, and you need to work the matrix, but then you need to realize that you need to come out and you need to make money from what you did in the matrix.
I never thought about it that way. That's actually smart. So I'm gonna ask the panel a question here, and I'm just gonna be transparent. But I'm a former radio DJ, so we had to really basically put our life online to be in that era. And I'm not in radio anymore, thank God. So I'll have to put myself out there. So I'm gonna ask the panel, how can I put this? How can I make money doing this?
I got a different perspective with it, but I do say that everybody's posting. But everybody's not posting with purpose. And I feel like that is actually what brings in money, to be honest with you. And you also create your niche as well, because you scare away some clients and maybe bad clients by creating that niche, which is a good thing, because I'm speaking from experience of trying to get all the clients versus being selective on the clients that I want. So posting with a purpose is what I feel like we bring to money.
I was going to say, Cody, anything to add to that?
Can you ask the question originally? I think Rob was trying to switch topics here. I don't really know where we were going.
case y'all don't know, there might be some beef on the other end of this panel right now. But talking about the fact that everybody's posting, everybody's using social media, how do we give advice in terms of getting actual traction from posting on social media? What actually works in terms of posting and getting the right type of clientele?
Yeah, so everybody talks about niches. So you know that especially like if you're trying to create content, whether it's like an influencer or if you're working with a brand who is wanting to stand out online, everybody talks about creating a niche or being in a niche. And I really consider those to be more of like lanes. What you have to find is like ways you can niche down even more. So, it's not enough to just talk about that apparel brand or that restaurant, if you're a food influencer or if you like to talk about, fitness clothes or, what you wear to the gym. You have to figure out a way to talk about it differently than the next person. What's going to have you stand out and add to the conversation that nobody else is adding to it. So I would say that's the way that's going to get you traction the most, which is eventually going to get you dollars online, if that's the goal.
And we're gonna jump around a bit here, jumping into the messaging piece of the small business. Obviously, y'all are here right now because y'all are successful in the lanes that y'all are walking in. But that messaging that your small business has right now might not have always been as crisp and clean as it is. When did you realize that you needed to fix something in terms of messaging? And then how did you go about doing it? And anybody can take it.
I'll go. So for me, like you mentioned earlier, everybody's on social media, everybody is trying to get followers, views, conversions, etc. And I have been doing that for a long time. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people will just start doing the work, which is part of it, right? Like you have to do the work. But if you don't have a strategy or a business plan in place, then you're just kind of shooting a shot and just hoping that something sticks wherever it's going to stick. And that, again, is part of it, but that should not be your only thing. Like you should definitely come up with a strategy and have a business plan. And so for me, it wasn't until I would say maybe like these last couple of years that I really was given the resources to focus down on what it was that I needed to do with my business. So I was able to receive my master's degree from Syracuse, which is one of the top communication schools in the country. And part of their program that I was really grateful to experience is that they really are innovative with what is going on currently in the media landscape. So part of some of the classes and like my final project was me essentially coming up with a business plan. And how was I going to monetize and grow my business outside of the journalism space? Because that's what like Rob, that's how we know each other. We both from radio. I also come from print journalism. So I've worked in all spaces of media. And so I was like, okay, what do I really want to do and how can I make money from doing this? So thankfully, my grad program allowed me the space to really figure that out. While also, I use some of the community resources here. I just finished the PACE program through Creed, where I really learned how to understand the money of making a business, while also figuring out what do I want to tell my clients, what do I want to tell other businesses in the community, what I need as I try to ask for money myself. So, yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that? That was a pretty good answer.
So I realized that things weren't working for me when I would get contacted by people to do services that I didn't really want to do. And I realized that I wasn't specific enough in my business story to attract the right people. So my main thing is media photography. I would get people contacting me to do like a birthday party or this for my grandmother's 50th birthday. There's nothing wrong with that. But my background is journalism, investigations, and everything I've ever done has been connected to business. So I found myself in those personal situations, and honestly, I was uncomfortable because I'm used to having a certain intensity when I work. So I had to realize that I just can't be general and say, I'm a photographer. I need to focus and be clear about who my target is. Once you make a connection with your target will be more comfortable with coming to you, looking at you, and spending money.
I kind of want to piggyback off that. You had mentioned earlier about a specific clientele. social media and whatnot. I feel like there's a need, people feel the need to speak to any and everybody. How do we get more specific in terms of that messaging and communication and get the type of clientele that we want?
So I feel like just knowing who your target audience is actually. If you don't know, then you're gonna be all over the place. Like, and I've been like just trying to get all the clients and stuff like that, but then you realize, just like how they talk about like the communication background. So I do too, the radio, television, the film, and there is an aspect of like what you learn in college that doesn't exist by just learning stuff on the street. And when that comes into play, you'll realize that you need to change some things and who your audience is. And I do want to add something to the last question. Because it was good. But when I realized that I need to step my game up was when I needed to stop being like a solopreneur as much and then actually team. Because I can't do everything now.
I almost just want you to expand on that. That solo part was a bar. So how did you understand building that team?
When I realized I got a life, a real life, outside of being a creative. And I'll be transparent. I wake up early, and I'm pretty much done at 2:30. Unless it's an event or something like that. I got kids, they do extracurricular activities, and I want to be there for that. So I have to be a little bit smarter during the day and do more with my time during that time.
And Rob, I'll start this next question with you, brother. I see you around the floor. What you got?
I want to piggyback off that right there. And actually, I opened up this morning at breakfast with Miss Angela at the table. I was a solopreneur for a long time until recently. And I had a pretty bad accident, a freak accident. But just to be honest, my transition to a entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur, just this recently, honestly. My accident put me in a wheelchair, I couldn't walk, and they just broke my whole right leg. And this is a little bit over a year ago. And my team that I was just contracted as part-time, people actually came to my house, sat in my bedroom, and said, "Hey, Rob, I got you." And when they did that, I let go. And that point was the moment my business transitioned. Even though I was doing good, people saw me out, the business was going great. It was awesome. But now it's a business. So, team, super important. I just want to answer that.
No, that's actually even better than the last question I was about to ask. But on that note of building out that team, it can be hard when this is something that, and I'm sure each of you can speak to it, you've built something up yourself, you put in blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. What is that conversation like, letting go, letting other people step in to help you out? What is some advice that you have for that type of conversation, bringing the right people?
Honestly, I trusted God. And I ain't trying to God, but it's just, I trusted God in that process. Because I was nervous, I was scared. It's not me. This was a thought. And it's got all distraction. It's on my back. And I gotta let go. That's all. That's real. I cried. Like physical tears. Realizing I'm sitting around and I can't do nothing. I said, God, you got it. And that's it. And when I let go, I talk to God. He said, I got it. That was it.
So when I was building my team, I actually had to go through a whole process. Because people are used to seeing like you somewhere, and they had to get used to seeing like my team. So what I was actually doing was really doing the paid training for people to be around me so that other people see them doing the work with me so that the next time they call and I'm not available to go there, I can still send my team there. I may not be there. And that's really the only way that you can really scale as a creative too as well. Not the only way, but when it comes to building a team.
We can't spend this whole time without talking about money in some shape, form, or fashion. So this is real talk. Y'all been doing this for a while now. And either Cody or Antonio, y'all can start with this one. When did y'all realize y'all were undercharging for your services? Because you do some heavy lifting. When did you realize that, oh, I need to start asking for the money that I deserve in these situations?
When I got that master's degree, I was like, yesterday's price is not today's price.
So, to spend when they have to spend. Their budget is their budget. You may have a Paris budget, they have a McDonald's budget. I had to make myself realize that I didn't want the McDonald's money. I wanted the Paris money. So I had to make my business story clear so I could attract the people who wanted to go to Paris and not go to McDonald's. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with McDonald's. I went to McDonald's the other day because I had a taste for that nostalgic taste of Big Mac and French fries. But when it's time for my birthday, I'm not going to McDonald's. I'm going to Paris. So if I know I want someone to come to me for that Paris experience because I want that Paris money, so I need to make sure that my business story is clear, it can be understood, and people can associate me and what I do with Paris money.
Yeah, nothing against McDonald's. My granddad actually used to be the manager at McDonald's on the west side, so I'm going to tell him about this comparison today. Rob, Daz, anything to add to that?
So I actually had experience with power of social media. Someone seen me on social media wanted me to be a part of their team for a project. And I noticed that I got paid the same amount that I was charging for like a project for doing something simple. You get what I'm saying? Like I was only a piece to the puzzle, and I got paid the same as if something that I was charging. And I realized, oh, I can do less and get paid more for the same project. So I realized right then that I wasn't charging.
I realized I need to charge more because I'm being invested into my craft. So I go to conferences consistently. If you see me on the plane, I'm going to a conference because I need to go see where everybody went around this country, around the world. So I got a chance to sit into a big room one day, and they were talking money. And I realized, for example, I get $500 for this. Same exact thing for somebody in the same market is getting $1,900 for the same exact price. And sometimes I had to work twice as hard to get my $500 and they get $1,900. So then after that point, I said, you know what? I ain't gonna sell it. So my prices, I lost a lot of clients. A lot. A whole lot. But then I got a whole lot more. Less work. And one thing I really realized, it's easier to ask 5 clients for $10,000. You'll get $10,000 worth of money and ask the same amount, $500 for the same amount. So I'm gonna charge $5, but I can just get less clients for the same amount of money.
And then on that note, what is that conversation like to actually close a deal and get somebody to pay? You have a lot of people that are reach out, hey, I want to use you for this, I want to use you for that. But what makes you what helps us actually close that deal and ensure that your business is getting money that is servicing on the back end for those services?
I just don't sell it. I know it's worth. I know what I can do. I know what my results are. And I got proof. I'm proof. Ready to work.
I think you have to get people to attach to you and pay. Your story has to have a certain shape to it. The story needs to be clear, and real people need to understand the story. When your story is clear and they understand, you make that connection. When you make that connection, they trust you, they feel like you're confident. And when they trust you and they feel like you're confident, they're more likely to come to you and spend money because they know you have something that they value. So it's clarity, it's understanding, it's making that connection.
And on that story aspect, just to bring it back to messaging, when did it, because I feel like I've seen all go around town at some point, especially riders, everywhere. When did it shift from people just kind of knowing who you are, knowing what you're doing, but now people are searching about, people are trying to find you, to ask for your services? When did that shift happen? Was it the storytelling aspect, or what did you have to do in messaging for that shift to occur?
I'll tell you, everybody's different. Every company is different, and everybody's message is different. But for me, I think pay, I actually stopped showing so much work. And I used to show more than me. And my personality and things like that. People want to dive more into that. Because I don't show everything. I show what I want you to see on social media. But that is part of marketing. Marketing is a little psychology. Give them a little bit to get people to want more. So I just started showing me a little bit more behind the scenes. I don't ever post an actual finished project on something. But I show you doing behind the scenes a lot. And people are noticing. So they want to see what you're doing and what's next. So it's almost like a never-ending story.
Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure who was going to go next. So for me, I feel like right now I'm in the middle of that shift because I was kind of forced into the entrepreneurship that I am navigating right now. But people know that I do media. I get people asking me all the time, you still doing the podcast? You still work at the radio station? No. I have not worked at the radio station in many years. I have not produced my last podcast in many years. But I think because I have still continued to work in the media space of some sort, and I've had so many projects over the years that are attached to my name, people just aren't really sure like exactly what it is that I do. And so right now, that is something that I'm having to, I guess, still figure out. I don't want to say figure out, but still trying to get people to know exactly like who I am and what I do, because my name has always been attached to AL.com, 95.7 Jams, Be Here Now. Like I've worked literally everywhere. So people just like don't know, you know, what to associate me with, and that's, I guess, like a good and a bad problem. I don't know. So right now, I'm really in the place. I've had this conversation with other entrepreneurs. Is that sometimes when you are leaving or not working with these big companies anymore, you're having to rebuild your name independently. Because if you don't have the cachet of, you know, a Regions or Apple Power or wherever big company in town, you know, people know you in that lane, but they don't know what you're doing independently now that you're working as an entrepreneur. And so you have to do the work to get people to understand that, no, I'm not associated with those brands anymore. This is me. This is what I do. So that's where I am right now, is trying to establish myself as my own media person, even though I've been basically doing that, I guess, for a while, but yeah.
That's a real thing, because I've had to do the same thing. Working in radio to now alone. But my casual moment, just be honest, when I'm given an opportunity, I'm gonna blow it out of the water. You know, you just give me an opportunity. You give me a little inch, I'm gonna take 500 feet. I promise you, but I'm gonna do my best at that 500 feet. Well, I'm gonna do my best at that inch to get it 500 feet. So, just like Cody, when I left radio, well, I'm gonna say this, I got fired from radio. I got fired from radio, it was cool, because I was already working for myself full time, and working radio full time, so I was parallel all the time. And so when that time came, they said, we're gonna let you go. I said, cool, y'all have a good day, I'll see y'all on the other side. And they have called several times, needed me since, and the answer is always no. I'm still a little bit, a little salty about that, but it's cool. I'm just being honest. Yeah, but I still want to get the moment out. So even though I was using radio, my big moment that parallels to the next was actually with Mayor Wood. I was a DJ, still working, I was working hard, and Mayor Wood put me on the stage, and I have not got off that stage to this day. Because I took that opportunity, I'm still in that coattail, it's very sad. Everything I do is still tied. And I'm careful with myself, my personal brand, and his brand. Because I get in trouble. Here's a DJ. I don't want that. So just like that's my moment when Mayor put me on the stage, and that's everything changed.
So it's funny that everyone up here has been talking about a shift, and I think everyone has a shift, and I had a major shift because before I got into my media career, nobody
couple more questions for everybody to answer, and then some Q&A to wrap up. But Rob, I'm coming to you. Just a question I wanted to ask. So, what did you stop doing that actually made you more money?
Stop selling. Knowing my worth.
Talk about it.
That's it. Stop selling. If your price is $5,000, your price is $5,000. That's it. That's period. Ain't nothing else to it. Don't sell it. Just be honest. I wanted to cuss when I said that. I did. Just don't sell it. Whatever it is. And I guarantee you're going to lose some people, but you're going to gain the right people. Don't sell it.
Can you elaborate on that last part a little bit? Because again, as somebody who's been around town, you probably have a lot of personal relationships too, where somebody, y'all probably all know to this day, known each other for a while. You need the same services, about 3, something like that. How do you continue to hold that same standard of, no, this is worth $5,000. I know you're my home, but this isn't, that'll mean you get a discount. You told me no.
I sure did. I wasn't gonna mention that you did. And honestly, at this point, like Antonio said, most times at this point, most of those people don't come. Because I know where the money is, I know where I focus on business, and I know where I want it to go. And like I just told my assistant yesterday, or my assistant manager, I said, hey, I don't want to lose where we're starting. I don't want to lose our base, what God is where we are. But I still want to be relevant to that side, but I don't want to lose, we got all these corporate clients. But I'm gonna just say this right now. I'm here, I'm working out this very sad. Y'all probably saw it at home. I got 2 of the biggest clients, 2 events happening right now that I really want to be in. This very second, they're going on right now. We're dealing with the FIFA World Cup and Coca-Cola. 2 events going on right now. I'm here. And I'm glad to be here. Let me just say it. It's a dream. I mean, I'm freaking out right now. So, which is kind of good. Let me just say it. I'm proud of myself now. So, there you go. I forgot where I was going with that. What was I going with?
You were still talking about settling.
Oh yeah, don't sell. Just get the right clients. So even with my close friends, yeah, I would help them out. It's only to a certain level. Like even if let's say I want to cheat myself, you gonna pay for the product. You gonna pay for something. I can't have to hurt.
Anybody else on what you stopped doing that actually made you more money?
Like you said, tell people no. You can also adjust what you can do for the price for that budget as well. That way you don't really turn down the client completely. But if they say, if you know something's worth $5,000, you see, and their budget is $2,500, so I can do this for $2,500, but I can't do this for $5,000. So just adjust what I can do for service.
Cody, Antonio, anything to add on that?
I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to say because I feel like part of what I want to say is also encapsulating so much of what's going on right now across the country. Part of it being that I stopped applying for full-time jobs. Last year, I applied for so many jobs that I was overqualified for that I didn't even get interviews for. And if I didn't get interviews, for some reason they just fell through. And my mentor, who is a very successful business owner, she has a venture capital firm, she was like, oh, you need to bet on yourself. And that has, I'll say that what I'm doing right now is what I've always wanted to do. I just was never able to do it because I needed that full-time pay. I needed those benefits. And I was raised to believe you're going to get that good 9-to-5 job so you can get you a good retirement and, settle down in your late 50s if you can, early 60s. And so that's always what I've envisioned. And at the end of the year, I was like, I'm tired. I was like, I can't keep applying for jobs. And I did keep doing it, maybe like another one after that. But I was very tired and burnt out because I think right now what's going on with our federal government and all the layoffs we can see, there's really no job growth that's happening. I was like, you know what, this is dehumanizing. I just like, it's not making me feel good to even have to curate another resume for this. I am going to encourage other people in the room to do it. That is where you are. Because you kind of, some of us, for me, I felt like I didn't have a choice. I was like, me trying to get a 9 to 5 is just not working. So I'm just gonna figure out how this thing can work, and let's just do it. Did I answer your question? I forgot what the question was, if you'll say it out there.
You had a point you needed to make, I ain't mad at you. Antonio, oh, go ahead, Rob, what you got?
We don't agree often, but I'm with her on that.
And
Your question was about what
What did
you
you
do
stop?
differently. Yeah, I had to stop trying to play a 9 to 5. Yeah, I had to stop doing that. It wasn't, plus also, my mindset, as well as Sarah just added this last point, my mindset also is, I was just looking for a job that was gonna pay me what I got paid at my last job. And I was like, if I really just hone in on what I wanna do, I can make so much more than what I was making on that last job. And so right now I'm making what I was making on my last job. So the goal is to get to the point where I'm making more than that by the end of the year.
And Antonio, the question was, what did you stop doing that actually made you more money?
So I stopped being jumbo. In terms of photography, I stopped doing everything. I stopped trying to offer everything to everybody. When I stopped that, and I started being more specific in my business story, more specific in what I offered to who I offered, that's when I started making money. I have less clients, but I make more money when I actually do the work that I enjoy. So when I stopped being jumbo, and I got more specific about myself and about my client, that's when I started making money.
And I know we have just a few more minutes. Are there any questions from our audience right here that y'all would like to ask the panel before we close on out?
So there are a couple of ways to make money. You need to realize what your business is and how you make money. If you go into the matrix and you make money in the matrix, that's fine. But you need to come outside that matrix and your money comes from here in the real world, then you need to move in a certain way. There are content creators who make money in there. But if that's not what you do, that's not how you should move. You need people to bring their kids to you. That's what you need. You can't do that in the matrix. So you go into the matrix, you create your story that connects with people in the matrix. But at some point, they have to come out of that matrix and come to you for the real life, real world service, so you can get that real world, real life money. So you got to go in, you got to work, and then you got to come out. Morpheus used to go in the black suit, do karate, and fly airplanes, but when he came out, he lived in a cave. So you need to get people come out of that matrix and work in that place so you move out of that cave.
Our young lady in the front, I think there's a mic coming to you, actually.
Hello, so my name is Dr. Goodman, and I have a multidisciplinary private practice. So, like our kids and adults to come to us. So I get exactly what you're saying, like coming out the matrix, but in the matrix. How do you show up? So sometimes I kind of struggle with that, like how much, like he said, like you want to tell your personal story, like how much of that is relevant that you need to show up yourself, or kind of just stick to the business side, like what do we do? We do speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABA. So sometimes I get like, okay, where do I, cross that line? Finish that.
So I can answer this, and I was in education as well before I went full-time entrepreneurship. And I used to go to I taught life skills into a lot of schools. And I would go to different schools, and I would have a bow tie on and suit, and them kids was not listening to me at all. But the principal put me to the side one day, he was like, listen, you gotta chill on the bow tie, dressing up. And I started wearing polos. Kids started seeing my tattoos, and then they related to me a little bit So earlier I said, like, give a little bit of you to get out of it. That's what you have to do. But of course, with being private at the same time, and that can be hard too as well. But I don't want to go so far with my personal life as well. But from what they see visually, they can relate to me.
So I feel like you need to develop it. You need to develop your business story. And my background is journalism. And I feel like there's a certain way you do that to make the best connection. They call it the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, and why. You apply those 5 W's to you and what you are. And you apply those 5 W's to who your target is. When you find out those answers, then you develop everything that you want to do around those 5 W's. That's going to help you connect with real people, with real money spent, and then you help. That's really nothing.
All right, I think we've got time for one more audience question.
I guess it's a kid theme. I'm a therapist in private practice, mental health, and a big issue that happened in our field was a very popular therapist said something on social media that basically caused a lot of backlash, and people are trying to take his license. How do you navigate? You talked about the Matrix, but the Matrix in the movie had Mr. Anderson's coming after you, and so how do you guys navigate that? Because for a lot of professionals, I'd rather just make my money, get my clients, and I'm not in a cave. I have my own practice, and I don't even want to risk my livelihood, my license, my reputation, because there's a bunch of Mr. Andersons around. So how do you navigate that with people who maybe are willing to stunt their growth at the risk of not being harmed in the Matrix?
I'll go a little looking at that. So I pride myself in being like the Bible, the cool quarter, which is a line, a clear line that you can cross. If you stay right there in the middle, where you're not showing everything, you're not telling everything, they can only assume. But one time somebody said, "You think you're perfect on social media?" I said, "No, you think that." I don't think that because I'm not posting things that's not true on social media. But assumption of how these does change the narrative of how people view it.
So remember that you're dealing with Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Anderson only resides in the Matrix. He can't come outside with you. He can't come into the real world. Remember who you are. Remember what you do. And remember that you are to real people. That's the thing. When you go in that Matrix, you don't see everybody. It's not going to be real. It's not going to be true. So you're not supposed to change who you are and what you are to fit into the Matrix. You carry yourself to the Matrix. You offer what you offer to the target, and then you come out. If you do it right, they will come out with you. So that's the key. Just be you. Don't you what you do.
I'm with them 100%. For me, I'm right down the middle. I show just enough, but never too much. But also I learned to don't even care. Just being real. I don't care. Because I know what I am, I know what I produce, I know what I am. This is just your thoughts and your opinions. It ain't got nothing to do with it. That's it.
So we'll start with Cody and work down the line, just to give you all one more word, and to frame that last word, I'll ask it like this. What is one thing, whether they are a business owner or just a professional, whether they're young or young at heart, what is one thing, no excuses, that we need to start doing this week to better ourselves, whether that's our business or just ourselves as professionals?
If you don't have a strategy or business plan, create it. If you have created it, review it. Look and see when was the last time you've updated it, or those SMART goals. Those are very important. I do believe that you should review those quarterly, if possible. We probably can. I know I'm not doing it like I'm supposed to, but reflect and ask yourself, like, what part of my strategy needs to be fixed? Is there a gap in our business plan? And how do I need to address it? And usually, you know, we review your SMART goals, you deal with that. And then, you know, like I said, bet on yourself.
Try, fail, shift. That's it. Try, fail, shift. Start today. Personal life, business, kids, family. Try, fail, shift.
So be seen, be heard, be paid. I think you should start to work on your business story based on liabilities, who will win, where, and why. And then look at your client that you want to have, who will win, where, and why. Develop your business story so you can be clear, people can understand you. When people are clear on what you offer, then they have value. When you have value, then you get paid.
All those are great. I really can't add more, but I do want to say this. Y'all know the rapper D1? Yeah. Okay. He has a song called Story. And the first things he said is, tell your story so people will appreciate your glory. Michael Jordan ain't got more rings than Rob Ford. That's deep. So tell your story. We see who's winning. Michael Jordan. You get that? Okay. All right.
I like that. So let's give it up for our panelists. Let's give it up for them. That was a good word. Thank y'all so much for being here. Special shout out to our sponsors. I think this is the only time in my life I'll ever say this, but a special shout out to Auburn too for hosting this. So I won't say what I want to say, but thank y'all so much for being here. Please hang around, talk to our panelists today, and enjoy the rest of the Network Navigator Day, Small Business Week. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Thank you for being with us.
Oh, and also, one last thing, y'all see that white van right there? It's gonna be, it's a mobile headshot truck. Once Brian or myself goes in there, you'll be going to pop in, get a free headshot, we'll send it to you right there.
So if anyone needs help with their IWs or building a store, come talk to me. Let's get it started.
You lying.
by chance?
They're trying to locate us against the fifth floor. I said, look, my girl is how to do it. They're ready to learn, and my guys are ready to learn. So let's just hop in here. Give me my phone for content. All right, we're gonna hop right back in. Hi, this is the amazing owner of Hollingsworth. Hey, girl. If you've not tried her cake, you're ready. Then coming up, make sure to check her out and order her. All right, so we're gonna hop back here real quick on the sequences. We have 35, well, 32 minutes to be exact. I'm gonna go through very fast. So if you have pen, paper, please take it out. We don't have a screen, so if you can, at the end of the session, you would like my deck to kind of have the action items on pages and stuff, so we can idea the concept we're talking about. Please find myself or my amazing fiance Elias. Give me your email address and I'll get it to you today. So first things first, for a business ecosystem, the first thing you need is an anchor offer. Since again, so you already know, unless we just came in, you know what I'm talking about. Everything I'm talking about today is going to be based on business ecosystem methodology versus traditional small business methodology, okay? And I speak about this because a lot of my small businesses never get this information until they hit that $500,000, $1 million threshold. And realistically speaking, only about 72% of businesses actually ever reach that, right? So there's a lot of businesses that stay at that $100,000 threshold because their operation is in isolation. And I want us to change that and start learning how to work together, how to make sure our ecosystem matches with someone else's ecosystem that we're in their fragmented systems versus we're trying to build everything on our own. And being in this business for almost 14 years in September, I've realized we cannot keep moving, doing everything alone, building alone, going after funding alone, going after grants alone, going after everything alone, because it leaves us alone. And the bigger companies that I've worked with and I've helped build over time, they don't build alone. You may not even know who their partners are. They have partners that's helping them thrive and grow in the economy right now. And so the first thing you need in your business ecosystem, this can be in any business. You do not have to wait until you make $250,000, $500,000 to do this, okay? Have an offer. The best thing that helps your customer, not helps you. I know that's so different from everyone else tells you, so think it's your passion, do what you're great at. What does your customer need? How do you meet their needs? Versus you leading with what meets yours. Right? And I know you're like, oh God, you don't tell me to change my passion and actually in alignment with it. That's great, but they does not care. They don't. They don't make sure what you're selling can get out to the actual marketplace and make money to get the money back. That's what they care about. After that, I want you to work on your distribution pipeline. I truly believe this is the number one overlooked, skipped element of every small business is distribution pipeline. Not your marketing campaign, that's two totally different things. Not your branding, none of that. I have literally built companies up to millions of dollars that did not have a website. My first ever business 14 years ago was built with a landing page only. It wasn't a responsive landing page. First of all, that didn't even exist that long ago. You got up there, you landed, there's information, you got to scroll to one more box of information, and it said put your email address in, and I kept that for years. Then websites blew up, and it had to be responsive, and it had to dance and make noise and all this stuff, and then I upgraded. But for the longest, it was just a landing page. Because I knew exactly who my partners were, and they were pushing out my product, my message, to their audience that needed it either before they needed me or after they needed my service. Okay? And so think about outside yourself, who has exactly who you're trying to service? Who already has access to them? Either before they need you or after they need you. Yes.
Exactly. So you have to figure out who has access to them on a daily basis.
What was the question? What was her comment?
Was that again, please?
Sorry.
He was asking who has access to people who know people that they serve. And so my answer was visionary, right, industry leaders, people who are making decisions from inside, like your nonprofit leaders and school officials, things of that nature.
Thank you.
Thank you for the mic. So as you go on, I'll just start listing those individuals out. Who are those companies, right? And again, you think about the amount of money or income you need to make a difference in whatever you're trying to do. Because again, it goes back to money, income. And that's if you're for-profit or non-profit. And a lot of times as Black and brown and women founders, we get uncomfortable when it comes to the piece about talking about money. Because we've been trained that, oh my God, that's materialistic, or that just feels nasty, or we're begging, or it's uncomfortable. And everything I think about from actually going through it. Being in this space for this long and going through it uncomfortable, it feels like to ask for $500,000, $1 million. I have counterparts who are asking for that on a daily basis and not thinking twice about it at all. And I had to realize, why do I feel comfortable about that? If it's out there and it's going to feed the initiative and actually feed the community that needs it, why am I comfortable asking for it? Okay? So your partners are here to help you. They want to help you. I've had partners get upset because I don't ask them enough for help. They're like, hello, I'm right here. You are not alone. I am with you. I'm Jackson. And so the third thing you need are your systems. Which systems are going to help your company thrive without you? And again, think about that right now. Not when you make hundreds of thousands of dollars, when you're ready to hire your first 10 people. What systems can you use right now? And with the AI space happening, but I don't want you to do is be overwhelmed with so many AI systems. Because now that's what I'm seeing in the marketplace. People have so many chatbots, so many subscriptions, so many everything, and now they're not interconnected, and so now it's a fragmented system that was supposed to make it not fragmented. Right? So pick one, stay loyal to it, figure it out. Does it really help you in your business before you add another one on? And again, so many AI systems don't even talk together. Before, that was the thing, like they all communicate. Where everyone wants to be the big dog right now, so they're not communicating. You can't get API codes for them to work. Okay? Alright. So traditional business is going to sell time, tasks, deliverables, right? What I want you to focus on is the outcome. Someone did a really good job recently, I'm going to talk about it again, is calling me. So for her presentation, she had to talk about men or Kara for the graduation ceremony. And I would say probably her first 15 words made me want to taste her cake. Like it was, I was like, where is the cake? Did she bring some cake with her today? Like where is it? She's like, oh, it's in the back of the room. People were getting up mid-conversation to go find this cake that she had because she had made us taste it without even tasting it. So she sold us the outcome. It wasn't just, oh, I make cakes and you should come try them. It was like, your sensations burst and it tastes like vanilla. And it sounds like sensations bursting. I want my sensations to burst with vanilla and lemon and all this. I was like, yes. Outcome. Right? I see so many of us leading with, why the hell do you do this? That's nice, but what is my outcome? Is my life changing when you leave me, or do I need to find someone else now to continue what I need help with? And I see a lot of service providers, they do that. They help you get to a certain place, and they're like, you're on your own now, I guess you're gonna find the next person that can help you. Think about if you told your customer, hey, your next phase, you need to go to her. And she helps you with X, Y, and Z. She's my partner, I trust her, she can do X, Y, and Z. And then she says, okay, well, after this, go no. He's gonna help you with X, Y, and Z, right? Now you're giving them a roadmap, and they're not out there lost and confused like most small business owners, trying to piece everything together, paying crazy money and duplicating processes over and over. So this is how I formulate my packages, okay? This is all regarding to packages. First, what is the problem that it's actually fixing? Whatever this offer is, right? We have the president for homeschooling in the building, Ms. Everett. And so she's fixing a problem that parents may have who may have different lifestyle. They don't want to take their kids to school, or they're thinking the kids are not learning as much in school, etc. So she's fixing a problem that's going to help not only the kids, but also the parents making decisions for the kids, right? Are they in a safe space, atmosphere, they get fed properly? All of that, the parents may feel that that's not happening in public school. She gives us a second option. I remember growing up, being a homeschool child, there wasn't any options. Homeschool was like the weird thing the weird kids did. Now you're weird and a nerd because you're homeschooled and you're away from all the cool kids, and it's just so different now. Now it's a cool thing. Now you can travel with your parents and go around the world and learn at the same time versus being stuck in a school. It's so different now. But that's what she's selling parents. So for my lifestyle, how much we travel around the world all the time, it was a great idea for me to have my word in homeschooling. Because why can't she be in Barcelona at the same time learning math? Right? And then the promise. So in 90 days, I'll get you what? In 60 days, I'll get you what? At the end, your result is going to be what? And psychologically, people like numbers. Right? So if I put a number to it, I can help them visually see what they're going to actually get the results of it. So we have someone that's in Pilates. Is that correct, Pilates? So if I'm saying, hey, your goal is to get your core strength together because you had a C-section, it's going to take you about 180 days. For me, that's a great timeline. It's realistic, it's not 30 days. I can put a little chart on the wall, a little star there for every day I go. It's something I look forward to accomplish a goal. And I say that because I had a Pilates coach, and that was my issue. I didn't have any core strength after I had my baby, and she was like, give me 180 days in this many sessions. And the first time I felt my abs crunch, I cried. I was like, it's coming back. Oh my God, it's coming back. But it was that time that I didn't feel overwhelmed. I said, okay, I can do 180 days. It's not that long. And then the process. What is a duplicated process you can do over and over and over again? Don't overwhelm it. Make it 1, 2, 3 steps. So if you're doing things with visionaries and businesses, it may be audit, strategy, systems done. Same thing. And that's your core offer. So if you're bringing them in with that same system, everyone gets. You're like, I can just customize it because they get X, Y, and Z. No, you cannot. You cannot customize it for everyone. Because you will forget things. And then you'll overpromise and underdeliver. And then you become a scam artist. But really, we're trying to customize to help them. People like we put it into a system, move through it, your results go on. Okay. And then the proof. Where can you find proof about what you're saying that you can do? If someone else provides proof or testimony or something saying that you can do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not talking about your cousin, or your mom, or your spouse, anyone in close proximity of your home, someone that's in the marketplace that's a great customer that can say he or she has done this for me. And they don't have to be perfect. They're just actually working with you for something. And then another was mountaintop. Oh my God, I did this, we did this together, blah, blah, blah. But being a hidden gem is not a good thing in 2026. And just posting on your social media where your friends are going to support you is not how you get to profitable companies. So I have a thought process, and I want you to incorporate this thought process into your business. I call it going after the big dog. Going after the big dog. And so what I do is whatever industry I'm trying to go into. And so for a very live example, I had a restaurant, so you know the name of it, and I said I would want this restaurant to be in every SEC school. Okay? So I just have access to it, X, Y, Z. I said, what's the biggest SEC school that everyone loves? What's that school name? Anybody know? Most times. So I went to Alabama. And I said, I have the best restaurant. You guys gotta taste the cabbage. It's not gonna be pork. It's blah, 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 blah. Like hyping it up, let me know. It's gonna sensation the taste buds, all these great things. So the head chef said, well, let's taste it. I said, well, come to the restaurant. I'm gonna taste it. So he brings all these chefs and the whole department to the restaurant in one of their big trucks. And I'm like, okay, they got it. All right. So we played it out for them. They tasted it. They're like, we like it. Kids need this. Kids need this food. Because they're tired of pizza and chicken nuggets and the same things over and over. All right, we'll talk to the next person. I said, okay. So the next meeting comes in. I got to go to the school, talk to another person over all of the cafeterias at all the SEC schools. And they're like, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. They're on board. They're gonna have this spot, you're gonna set up here, you're gonna do this. And in my head, everyone else is like, well, just go to this other school over here. Start here first. Then try to go over there. I was like, no. Because if you go to the biggest dog in the market and they say yes, then everybody else follows. And they can say yes or no. If they would say no, I would ask them, why are you telling me no? And then it tells me what to fix, so I can get a yes. And everyone that was crazy, like, why are you going here? Like, you're just at the city, they don't know you, you gotta be here for a few years, you're gonna say yes. And they said yes, I was there for less than 6 months. So like, no one else has asked for this. Not to be in every school. So what you're thinking, oh my God, I can't ask us too big, I guarantee you no one else has had all the audacity to ask for that. And they're waiting on you. Alright? And then last but not least, you gotta have a price. You have to have a price. And most people price their items or products based on how they feel about their product or service. And I want to make sure I say this again. It's not about you. It's about your customer. What do they feel comfortable with? What is the marketplace saying that they pay for this? Now, if your product is not good, I am not saying go out here and charge $1,500 for a duplicated product. I am not saying that. Christina did not say that. I want to make sure I said it. We got to go to camera. I did not say that. Right? I'm saying, look at the marketplace first. Do your market research analysis. You need one of those actual files. I'll give you the one that I use. And it'll tell you how do you compare and contrast in your marketplace and how do you come to your actual number. Okay? And so I like the rule of 3 when it comes to making packages. Because psychology tells people if they have 3 things to pick from, they have options, and they're going to always lean into that middle piece. We do it every single day. And so you have your introduction piece for people who are wanting to get in your space, but don't really trust you yet, to kind of put all their eggs in one basket. So that's what she did. She gave them a little taste of her cake. That was her introduction to us. Then she said, you want to buy a cake? You go put it on the website, right? And then she said, and then we also made wedding cakes, except that was her upsell. Because I'm pretty sure her wedding cakes are the same price as her little tiny slices. Right? So, 3 offers. I have one I have about myself, the introduction offer, then I have the foundation, then I have like the big boy that everyone should not get access to until you start to hire and duplicate yourself, and then you bring more people on. Another thing I want you to know, and write down that she's identified, is your cap rate. What is your cap rate for you to operate and not be stressed out? So I had just, me running my other company, it was 5 clients. I knew for every 5 clients, we need to hire another ecosystem architect to handle those 5 clients. So we did 5, okay, so I brought somebody else in. At 4, that's what was about to happen. Train them, develop them, move on. Same thing when I had the restaurant. When I knew we were going to have a high peak season, I knew we needed seasonal workers. So now you have to put that into budget. And our cap rate for our dining room was 35 customers. We could not handle 50. So I knew we had to have sometimes, we had to go wait list or sign up to come in if we had a new product launching, make a time slot, so logistically the restaurant still ran properly. But again, my team looked at me and was like, a sign up sheet for chicken wings or something? I was like, yes, what you don't want is everyone's coming at the same time they get off work at 5:30, and now we can accommodate, now we can have that reviews that they waited 15 minutes on chicken wings. See the domino effect of it? First thing, sign up, tell us what you're going to order, the food will be ready at 3 o'clock. And the food was ready at that time. So they came in ready to eat, ready to pay, get out the door, and we kept turning over that 35 seat. Your signature package should answer these questions. Who, what, how long, and what is the result? Who is this built for? And please don't tell me everybody. It's not built for everybody. Even Apple does not serve everybody. We still have some Samsung users, Android users. Then your what? What are you solving for them? Even if it's a product, what does the product solve for them? If it's a service, what does the service solve for them? How long will it take for this to be delivered to them? People like speed. Speed with accuracy. If I say it takes me 24 months to build a website, no one's gonna sign up for that service. If I say it takes 6 weeks, there will still be people that do not sign up for that service. Right? That's what a build, you just hire a building, it's gonna take 24 months to write. Can you make it 18? People don't like to wait. So how long and how long is it gonna take to get the result for them, right? 30 days, 90 days, ongoing, what does that look like? And then what is the result? It's the worksheet, you guys can't see this, I'll keep going. All right, so next is pricing it. Pricing it. There are 3 ways you can approach pricing. You have cost-based pricing. I strongly recommend you avoid that one. Then you have market-based pricing. I strongly recommend you do not sell either. And that is again comparing your price to somebody else. Well, they charge this, so I'm going to charge $10 cheaper. No. Then you have value-based pricing. And that's the one I strongly recommend that you lean into, is the value that your service, your product brings, because that's your differentiator from every other person that may do the exact same thing that you do. Okay? And so talk about money again. What I do is a reverse math problem. And what I do is I say, my goal is to make $250,000.
based on the product or offer that I'm putting out there, how many clients do I need to do or service to make that amount of money? Does anyone have that down? Does anyone know how much they need to do to service to make $23,000 tomorrow? You might know. Okay, maybe it's gonna work on it. Because we want to make money, right? That's why we're in business. But if you don't have your numbers down, you have a big problem. You also keep telling people I gotta service 8 to 9 clients. I gotta service 10. I gotta service 15. But then we look at our bank account and say, we don't have any money. Then we think about how long does it take you to actually acquire that customer. Because if you need $23,000 in 6 weeks, that means you have 1 to 2 weeks to acquire 8 to 9 clients to make that $200,000. So you think about, okay, where's my distribution pipeline coming in? Who has access to those clients? Not let me put together an ads or marketing plan and put it out there. You're almost sitting a hamster wheel. Because then you get upset, you put that money out there, that's that $50 to attract 10,000 new people, and no one bites, no one signs up, now you feel rejected, now you're like, oh my gosh, I suck, maybe I should try something else. And it's not just small business owners, I see this with big companies too, that go too fast, too soon. They burnt the capital, they burnt the partnerships, because they went too fast, because it wasn't based on the customer's needs, it was based on the leader's needs. Okay? And I always tell people, give yourself 3 months. Give yourself 3 to 6 months to truly start bringing in the type of income you want to bring in. Because what happens is, it is just happening personally. It may not be you pushing that timeline back, it may be the organization you're trying to partner with that needs to push that timeline back. And in the moment, you're frustrated, you're like, oh my God, my deadline was this. They're telling me now, I have to wait until this time. Right? And so when that happens, it's going to knock you out for a second. But now you have more time to get it together. And that's what I had to realize. I asked for $1.4 million, y'all. And they were like, okay, give us until September to get that money together. And I was like, I was really needing to get it more like June 1st. And they're like, you're really not getting it until September. And I was mad. I'm like, I was like, they told me I gotta wait until September. I need it like now. And he was like, okay, I mean, I guess that's bad news. And I had to have my little moment and I had to realize, okay, that gives me more time to really get in this community, get all the way over here to this county, learn the people, do all the things that I really need to do, but I wanted this to happen in this time zone, right? So, there's only 2 cents to me. I'll let you know how they go. All right. You have your 3 pricing models, right? This is where we start talking about systems that can be repeated over time. Having these models and these tiers allow you to actually build a system in your business. So that first one is a project-based model. Each project costs this amount of money. The second is your retainer model. Everyone, doesn't matter what type of business you have, should have some type of retainer model. Why? Because that allows you to predict how much income you'll have in the next future months coming up. Versus every single month you're starting over at 0. And even though you have a retainer model, what are you doing every single month to nurture them to make sure they stay on retainer? Because now you're dealing with someone's income, right? And you may not be the best option to keep every single month. And they'll go, oh, well, I'll just eliminate that and I'll put that back on in 2-3 months. Well, that affects you as a business, because you were expecting their income coming in. Right? So even though you have the retainer model, what are you doing every single month to talk to them, nurture them, whether it's an email, a text message, an appreciation to your customers? What are you doing every single month? Are you talking to them? Are you asking them what do they need coming up? Every single month. Because I'm gonna have so many other things to work on. Well, now that means you need to hire someone that can help with that task, or how it can be automated. Because you can automate sending an email up every single week and say, hey, don't forget to get your walking time in, don't forget to put your phone down, walk for a few seconds today. That's gonna remember your brand, right? It may be, hey, wedding season is coming up, you know, so when it's a wedding cake, make sure you keep me in mind. They forgot that she makes wedding cakes, right? It may be it's time to get, you know, summer, you know, fine and cute. So it's time to get a lighting session in. Maybe put your health first. Maybe focus on yourself. Whatever that is, keep you top of mind. Because I know you're like, well, I post on social, they should see that. They don't. Because everyone else is posting as well. And you have your tiered hybrid model. And I hate the word funnel, but until you get to that place where people are just coming in because they know you exist, you have to have something that funnels them in. Does anyone have any questions before I go into the protection piece? On how it should be set up, how to systemize it, anything I can help you with right now.
What type of funnels would you suggest?
So your funnel is basically your anchor offer that they'll see somewhere, and then it takes them into other steps into your actual funnel. So it may be, I'm doing this from just visually trying to design it for you in real time. So you'll have where they see your information on social, or a partner has mentioned you or something like that, right? So that's that first kind of coming in. So that's considered customer acquisition. And then you want to put into accounting and your customer acquisition cost, right? You'll consider that first. After they're acquired in, they trust you, they want to work with you, blah, 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 they'll go into that first anchor offer. And it may be, for Pilates, your first session is on us, right? People love free. So you put in your actual business that every single month on this day, I will have a free session for Pilates users or people that introduced to Pilates. They're going to come on this day. That way it's not to show up your money other days of your business, right? So everyone gets the same message on this day. If you do Pilates, is your free session, right? And then you have a calendar. It will say on your calendar, first class and like sessions only this day. That way they can't book anywhere else if they're gonna pay for it, right? So after you do that, they'll come to your session. You know everyone in this room is for Pilates. They're not new. They're new to it. They don't know about it. So now you're teaching them from a different perspective than you would have been there for 5, 6 times. So you're probably telling the history of Pilates, things like that, right? So now you're nurturing your audience. Then while they're in there, you'll go, while they're stretching and all this stuff, you'll say, hey, I have a package for my new Pilates users that if you buy 2 sessions or 1 month, you get 1 month free, whatever it is, right? So now you give them a call to action. And you want to say that call to action during class at least 3 to 5 times. All right, y'all, if you're feeling this stretch, don't forget, we have blah, blah, blah. Right? So then in that funnel, you're still nurturing them. They have to fight for actual money in, right? So then after that, you'll say at the end of class, maybe not yourself, maybe somebody else is up there waiting to actually start accepting cards and stuff like that. You already have their information. And if whoever does not buy that day, you should be able to see it in your system, and you'll start sending out an email or a text sequence. It says, hey, I see you sign up. This offer is good for 30 days. Now you put a timeline on it. So it makes it urgent for them. Right? And then from there, when they still don't sign up, you just keep nurturing them until they eventually do. You don't stop and give And then you say, okay, well, maybe it can come to this class. When you take them to this class, I also offer virtual Pilates. And these are the 6 items you should be actually using at home to do at home Pilates. And you make an account with Amazon, so they make affiliate, you still make money from it, the Pilates products, you still make money from it, and you do your online class, and now you have to make your ecosystem. Make sense? That was off the dome. I think we're specific if we just said that. That was good off the dome. Yes.
What was the negative snowball effect of the delay of the $1 million coming in later than earlier? We'd love to hear you unpack a little bit about decisions you had to make, things you couldn't do that you were planning on doing if you got the June payment.
So one of the biggest things is timeline of deliverables, all right? So we're going into 3 counties outside of Jefferson County, and so it's having everyone on the deadline they're anticipating to in the field. That's not going to happen right now. So first, I have to do everyone saying, hey, this is not happening, X, Y, Z. The true reason it's not happening is not because it just can't happen. You're dealing with corporations and higher policies. Again, it has to make sense for them, so it can be a win-win for both of you. And right now, their initiatives are already accounted for, meaning they have depleted their funds. So they cannot help another organization, or another cause, or another program, or another investment right now. So some establishments, some organizations, some things, they get so much money they can actually get out to the community in certain places. Right now, it's really big for rural impact. What's happening outside of the bigger communities like Birmingham? We have 10,000 programs that help you start, learn about small business here. But as you go out into the community and other rural spaces, that's not happening. They don't have access to the information. They don't have all of these workshops happening there. So that company that I have, our goal is to be able to be that resource in that community. So the person who's going to invest in us, they said, wait, we have to actually apply you to the next threshold of income that we have coming in. We can't give you this one because we promised other organizations or the businesses that capital already, and we're actually over the amount of money we're supposed to be getting out. Right? And so again, I'm talking about 3 months, 6 months. That means if you know this organization's timeline to give out funds is between this month and this month, then it needs to actually be in their proximity, getting approvals, all of that 3 to 6 to 9 months prior, and talking with the proper department that makes decisions for you. And so that was the main reason they ran out of money, to be honest. They ran out of $25 million in 4 months. So my little 1.4, they was like, no, wait, we don't have it. And again, I couldn't get mad because that means another organization is going to realize that they're moving forward, right? So people are still getting help. It's just what we're doing is going to be a little delayed until September. And so that next round of funding comes out in July, August, September. And so we'll get that funding at the end of September. We'll have the pushback in September, and then we're not kick off until after 2027. Because again, I have a strict rule, it gives me 3 to 6 months to do it right. I don't like rushing and just throw people into something and they don't get what they deserve from it. It's the personal thing that I have for business. And so they said, okay, that's great, because it has to be done by the end of 2027, and so it'll be done by the end of 2027. So everyone gets their deadlines and things met, and mine just has to get pushed back a little bit. But again, is the customer being served properly? At the end of the day, yes, they are. And that's what matters. Because you have to remember, as you start going for a lot of income, whether it's capital, whether it is tax credit, whether it is any type of money, there's a system inside of the system. And so yes, you maybe talk to the person that makes a decision for your line, right? Or someone is over him or her. And then there's a board that has to make the final decision. And so when I talk about ecosystem, it's learning who's in the game and learning how to connect with those game key players. Because someone is always over somebody else, and so Then you can start knowing more of those people today. Even if it's just connecting on LinkedIn. That's your first foot in the door that used to did not exist, y'all, 10, 15 years ago. You had to go find them in real life at an event and try to be aligned with everybody else trying to talk to them because they weren't know they're the key decision maker, and that was hard. Literally yesterday, I contacted the CEO of Protective Life. I was like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z. I didn't realize we were friends on LinkedIn. Can we meet to have coffee? He literally sent me a message that was like, yes. That didn't exist 14 years ago when I started. So I laughed at exactly they're going to get out the mud. Not really. It may take time, it may be uncomfortable, but you're not going to get out the true mud that we expect to get out of. So just connect on LinkedIn. Like I remember her face from LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, you talked to this lady, it's so great to see you. Hey girl. And now that uncomfortable icebreaker is not there. Versus before you have to really communicate and like stalk people and like find out they have kids and all this type of stuff and you're relatable to them and it was just weird, right? We're all FBI agents back then. Now it's just, hey, we can't go LinkedIn, so how is that going? So much easier. I have someone that's an OG in my life, Mr. Victor Brown. When I had to meet Victor, it was that uncomfortableness. It was 14 years ago, he was over the organization, they were having a lunch and learn, you had to be a member, all this type of stuff. I was like, $25? Oh, that's expensive. Okay, well, let me just try to go meet him and see how it come in. They wanted $2,000. And then I met him, and I was like, hi, Victor. Oh, I've seen that you do X, Y, and Z. He's like, okay, well, I gotta go talk to the person you brought in to speak and all that. And I'm like, okay, well, we gonna connect, okay. Then there's another networking event. Back in the day, networking events were hot. They were happening everywhere, all the time, all right? Cody changed that. And so I met him again at, I think it's with Bob Dickerson, some people like that. And I came up and I said, hey, Victor, I'm signing up your event. I do X, Y, and Z. I'm gonna help you continue with blah, blah, blah. He was like, all right, well, get the number, let's talk about it. I said, yes, I got him. I got the dishes. Then I called him and he was like, okay, well, you're gonna do my schedule for the next 30 to 45 days. You can do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, well, we got this. I'll follow back up with you. And I followed back up, and I followed back up, and I saw that another network event. I said, hey, Victor, maybe you told me to follow back up. See how stalkerish this is starting to feel? But you have to be persistent back in the day. Because then they took you serious. Because remember, you were a last thought process for someone that doesn't need you right now. And that's the reality that we have to kind of get over emotionally, that you're the last thought process. So how do you become top of mind? Right? Then I created something that you can be a part of. We're going to be on the same board for small business. Now it's a different light that we see. Right? Right. Any questions? I'm not going to bore you with the protected piece because we had negative 2 minutes in the building. If any questions I can answer for you right now. I'll send you this again. Find myself or find Mr. Hendricks over here. If I get your email address, and I'll see you before that. Because I know we have to move time, so kind of strengthen our time period. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Does anyone have any comments, questions? Anyone we dive into while we're here? All right, don't say I didn't know. If you want to connect on LinkedIn, again, that's always your great first place. I have Christina Renteria on all platforms. That's Facebook and LinkedIn. And then if you're trying to find me on Instagram, it's Millionaire C. Billionaire C. I should be going on there.